Master Shen stood at the edge of the settlement, his weathered hands clasped behind his back as he watched the twin suns set over the alien landscape. At 73 years old, he was one of the few on the ship who had been born on Earth itself, who remembered the old ways before humanity scattered to the stars. He had spent his youth in the Shaolin monasteries, mastering forms that dated back millennia. When the Exodus began, he had thought those ancient arts would fade into irrelevance among laser rifles and plasma cannons. He had been wrong. The ground trembled first. A low, subsonic rumble that made the prefabricated structures of New Beijing colony rattle on their foundations. Shen's eyes snapped open, his body instinctively dropping into a ready stance. He had felt earthquakes before, but this was different. This felt alive. From the forest came a roar that split the evening air, a sound so primal and terrible that it bypassed reason and struck directly at the ancestral fear buried in human DNA. The colonists screamed and ran as something massive emerged from the tree line. Care stood 30 meters tall, a nightmare made flesh. Its body resembled a fusion of reptile and insect, covered in chitinous plates that gleamed like obsidian. 6 eyes burned with malevolent intelligence above a maw filled with teeth the size of industrial drilling equipment. Behind it, dozens more creatures poured from the forest, smaller but no less deadly, each one a unique horror that defied Earth's evolutionary logic. The colony's defense turrets opened fire immediately. Plasma bolts and kinetic rounds hammered into Care's hide, but the ancient beast barely flinched. It swept one massive claw through a watchtower, sending steel and bodies flying. The smaller creatures scattered through the colony like a plague, tearing through barriers that had been designed to withstand meteor strikes. Master Shen moved. He didn't run toward the bunkers like the others. He ran toward the chaos, his elderly frame somehow covering ground with impossible speed. A creature the size of a hovercar lunged at a family trying to reach safety. Shen intercepted it mid-leap, his palm strike connecting with the beast's skull with a sound like a thunderclap. The creature's head snapped back and it crashed to the ground, twitching. The family stared in shock, but Shen was already moving, flowing from target to target like water finding the path of least resistance. Every strike was precise, targeting joints and nerve clusters that shouldn't have existed in alien physiology but somehow did. The old master fought as if he could see the life force flowing through these creatures, as if the chi he had spent a lifetime cultivating could bridge the gap between human and alien biology. "Everyone to the central bunker." Commander Walsh's voice boomed over the emergency speakers. "This is not a drill." All civilians, Care's tail whipped through the command center, silencing the transmission. The ancient beast moved with terrifying intelligence, systematically destroying the colony's infrastructure. It was hunting, but not for food. This was extermination. Shen found himself standing in the central plaza, surrounded by the bodies of the fallen both human and monster. His breathing was steady despite the exertion, his mind clear. Around him, dozens of the smaller creatures circled warily. They had learned that this particular human was dangerous. Then Care noticed him. The massive beast's 6 eyes focused on the tiny figure standing defiant in the ruins of the colony. For a moment, there was recognition and acknowledgement between two ancient things that should not exist in this modern age. Care had slept for eons beneath Refuge 7's surface, and when it woke, it expected to find soft prey. Instead, it found something that smelled of old earth, of disciplines refined over thousands of years. "You are the last of your kind," Shen said softly, though he knew the creature couldn't understand his words. "But you are not alone in that." Care charged, and the ground shook with each thunderous step. Shen didn't move until the last possible second, then flowed aside like smoke. His fist struck out, enhanced by decades of iron body training and connected with the beast's leg joint. The impact sent shockwaves through both their bodies. Care stumbled, just slightly, but that slight stumble was everything. The battle that followed would be spoken of in hushed tones for generations. Master Shen fought like something beyond human, his body moving in patterns that seemed to defy physics. He couldn't match Care's strength or size, but he didn't need to. Every strike targeted pressure points, every dodge placed him exactly where the creature's anatomy was weakest. He used the beast's own momentum against it, redirecting devastating attacks into the ground or into the smaller creatures that still circled. For 20 minutes, the old master danced with death. Then opportunity struck. Care reared back for a killing blow, and in that moment of overextension, Shen saw it, the gap in the chitinous armor where the creature's triple hearts beat in syncopated rhythm. He gathered every ounce of chi in his body, every lesson learned over 7 decades, and channeled it into a single point. The palm strike that followed broke the sound barrier. Shen's hand penetrated deep into Care's chest cavity, and for one frozen instant human and monster were connected. The old master felt the ancient creature's life force, vast and terrible and utterly alien. Then he twisted his wrist, disrupting the flow of energy, and Care's heart stopped in sequence. The giant beast toppled like a falling mountain. As its body hit the ground, something changed in the remaining creatures. The intelligence left their eyes, replaced by confusion, then fear. Within minutes, they had retreated back into the forest, leaving behind only destruction and silence. The old man looked at his trembling hands, then at the alien sky above. "Humanity brought many things to the stars," he said quietly. "Weapons, technology, science," he gestured at Care's corpse, "but we also brought something older. Something that cannot be measured or replicated by machines." He turned to face the survivors, and in his eyes burned something primordial, the indomitable spirit that had carried humanity from caves to stars. "We brought ourselves. And that," he said, "has always been enough."